Hey, everybody, welcome back into Marketing for Your Future. As always, I'm your host, Mark Labradji. This is the show where we talk to industry leaders, marketing professionals, people who know how to promote their business across industries and see what we can learn from them that we can apply to us. So, joining us today, I'm very excited. Brian Rappaport, CEO, founder of Quan Media Group. They deal in outdoor advertising, out of home advertising and marketing, an area that I've always sort of had an affinity for. And I cannot wait to talk to them to learn the inside scoop on what's happening in that industry. Brian, welcome to the show. It's nice to have you.
Thanks so much for having me. Really excited to be here.
Awesome. So let's just start with your company, Quan Media Group. Tell us what you do, what you specialize in, what you offer, and who you do it for.
Yeah, so we are an out-of-home advertising concierge. I came from the large agency holding company world. I founded Quan about 3.5 years ago after spending time across both Publicis and IPG, and wanted to create a much more flexible, easier way to buy and plan out-of-home advertising as it's become, a much more prominent channel for brand marketers. So we work across any market in the U.S., knowing each market inside and out based on whatever audience a brand is trying to target. And we also work internationally, whether it's Canada, Europe, anywhere across the globe. We buy and plan out of home. And by buying and planning out of home, that includes everything from billboards to giant walls to painted walls to subway advertising to all the cool non-traditional and experiential stuff, whether it is brand naming rights at a music festival, pop-up shops, branded food trucks. We do it all. And we work with some really fun and interesting clients that are kind of changing their games in their respective categories, ranging from GoPuff to Zelle to Away to Casper, Daily Harvest, Public.com, so on and so forth. So we're really all over the map with who we work with.
That's wonderful. Yeah. That's what I love about it. It's so varied. And people just traditionally think billboard or maybe at the side of a bus, but there's just so much more to it, to the point of guerrilla marketing. There's so much more out there. So you talked about the market, you're national, you're international. How do you determine the best market for a company to do a test or to do a launch? What is your process?
That's a great question. I mean, that's an area that we really excel in, and it's an area that we really do work closely with our brands and clients on. Market prioritization really does come down to two things. One, who the brand is looking to reach. Maybe it's an area where sales have spiked. Maybe it's an area where they're lagging with sales and they're looking to drive more sales. So we sit with them and understand what are their key goals, what are their KPIs, and then it's on us to know the market from an out-of-home viability standpoint. If a brand is looking to do something, in Texas, that's pretty broad. So we would sit with them and say, okay, well, maybe it makes a little bit more sense to look at Austin or Dallas, as there is a much more diverse mix of out-of-home tactics, and you can fully reach your audience in a variety of ways. Whereas a Houston, while a great market and a great city, is predominantly a billboard and traditional market. So unless you want to go out and buy 20 boards and kind of just go that route, it may not be the most exciting market from an out-of-home standpoint.
Yeah. So one of the things that has always fascinated me about outdoor, when COVID hit, from my limited understanding, COVID hit, prices plummeted because nobody was outdoor. And let's say movie theaters weren't open, so blockbuster or Marvel movies aren't taking up that prime space. But that opened the door to other people. And where is that now? Where are we on that front?
Yeah, I mean, that was an incredible time. I had only had Quan, up and running for maybe 6 months, but to the first point, we worked really closely with our media partners who were looking to fill some pretty prime space that is rarely available, to offer it up at really strong discounts to brands that maybe, we're looking to test out of home as a channel that may had some messaging that they were looking to get out there. Obviously people were still out and about during COVID, even in, market close downs, whether they were going to essential businesses, whether they were in their cars. So we would always mix and match this with foot traffic patterns and trends that we would get, and understanding what cities were open, what cities were closed, and then what opportunities made sense at very heavy discounts as a result of that. Looking at where we are now, as an industry, out-of-home prices are fully back to where we were pre-pandemic. I mean, the channel is growing at a really fast rate yet again. Q2 this year surpassed what Q2 was in 2019, which is pretty incredible and very indicative of what the future should hold for the channel. So while there will always be really strong discounts to be had if you're quick with creative and you can kind of react quickly, we're not where we were maybe in June of 2020, where you were seeing 50, 60, 70% off incredible, opportunities on Sunset Boulevard or in River North Chicago. Because again, we're kind of back to where we were, pre-pandemic for the most part.
Yeah. Yeah. So I have one final question. So I've always said that outdoor advertising, very traditional, right? But it's morphed into so much more. But where are we going? with the drone technology, there's pixels in the sky. I've said we're not far off from Blade Runner. Like, where are we, and where is it headed for your industry?
Yeah, I mean, I think first and foremost, as measurement continues to be a prime focus of out of home, and brand marketers who are looking to jump into the channel want to have some sort of idea of effectiveness while we are there, and we do have a variety of ways to measure and understand the effectiveness of out of home. I think we are going to continue to refine that and get to a place where we really can look at out of home at, at the same level as other channels that brand marketers are looking at. So that's super exciting to look at it a little bit more, holistically. I think as digital out of home becomes more prevalent and cities become more digitized, and we look at that whole smarter cities mantra, I think there's going to be more ways for brands to utilize dynamic creative content and take advantage of digital screens. And I use New York as an example right now. If you were to go into the subway system, and you take a look at what subways look like now versus what they looked like 10 years ago, those posters that used to be on the walls of platforms have been replaced by these sleek, incredible live board screens that can run dynamic creative content. You get onto an actual subway train and they're in the process of digitizing the actual interior of subways. So instead of, again, those static ads that are aligning subways, which are still there, they're being swapped in by these incredible digital screens, which allow you to react instantaneously as a brand to things going on in real life, to sales that you're having, to key moments in events, think Black Friday, Cyber Monday. So I do think that as digitization of out of home continues to kind of evolve, we're going to see a lot more exciting things in terms of the creative that brands continue to push out. That, along with, of course, experiential and non-traditional out of home, as we're back to in real life events and brands looking to push the envelope as to ways they can connect one-to-one with consumers at events like a South by, at events like a CES. So super exciting times. The channel's growing. I don't have to, say it myself. You can go ahead and read about it. But a great time to be in out of home and a great time for brands to test or jump into the channel fully.
And you seem to be the great guy to go to, because you certainly have the knowledge, understanding, and more importantly, the partnerships, right, to get these
Definitely.
to get the messages in the right markets. So I can't thank you enough for joining us. I did want to spend some time talking about attribution and measurement and ROI. We're a little bit out of time. Perhaps we'll get the chance to have you back on and talk
Yeah.
even more, since we both love this topic. So thank you again, and we'll talk to you soon. And if you want to learn
Thanks so
more
much.
about Daily Ad Brief, or about Brian's company, Quan Media Group, check out dailyadbrief.com. His profile's up there. A link to his website's up there. I'm sure he'll be able to help you. That'll do it for this episode. Once again, I'm Mark Labradji. This is Marketing for Your Future, and I will see you soon.